Right then, it's Thursday and I've got to repair a bloody car that's been in an accident. But before I do that, I'm going to nip in the office and just say hello, be polite, be sociable. Hello Marie again.
Hello Alan again.
This is Monica. I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know, why did they?
To get to the other side. Oh, you know what? I didn't actually expect you to get that joke, being Czechoslovakian and all that.
I'm Czech, yeah. I've got nothing to do with Slovakian part.
Czech. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. On my leaving note, then I've got another joke for you. Oh, did you hear about the airplane?
I've heard about the helicopter, but not the aeroplane.
No, don't worry. It'll probably go over your head anyway. See ya. Right.
Your jokes are getting worse.
I thought that was a pretty good one. Right, I suppose I better get on. Hello, Shane. How you doing?
Not too bad. Good time.
Do you know what? I can't quite put my finger on it, but you look like a famous celebrity. Who the hell is it? That's it. Rory McGrath. You look like Rory McGrath.
Well, you look like Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. I'll tell you something. I can accept that. Just don't call me Carl Bloody Pinkington.
All right, Carl. All right, Carl.
Anyway, what are you up to?
Not much, really. Don't really do
Well,
much.
that's about bloody right.
What do you want?
Shania?
Oh, Latvian's back.
Czechoslovakian woman's back.
Czechoslovakian Latvian. Whatever one you want to call her. What's up with you? Oh, are you eating again? Monica, you're going to get a belly. You're going to end up like me and Al.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to blow up like a blueberry.
You're just jealous.
Right, anyway, I'm going to get on. See ya.
Bye.
Right, let's get this show on the road. Shockers Orbers. Alright, here's the problem I've got today. This car behind me, it's been in a bit of an accident, and I'm going to show you what's wrong and what I've done to it so far, but I've still got a problem. Come and have a look. What's happened is another vehicle has hit this car right here, and I think the wheel has taken the brunt of the impact, and it snapped the bottom suspension arm clean off and popped the drive shaft out of the gearbox, completely smashed the wing. This is a brand new wing that's fitted. To give you some kind of idea how hard this wheel was actually smashed by this other car that hit it, it snapped this bottom suspension arm clean off, and you see where the inner bush would sit in the frame, that had just completely come out. Not to mention it had popped the anti-roll bar link ball joint out of its joint, and obviously with the bottom arm completely snapped, the drive shaft decided to separate itself, and the three little bearings that sit in here, they've all fallen down the road somewhere, so I needed to get another drive shaft. Oh no, there's more. The steering arm on the passenger side, can you see that? Can you see that steering arm? That's... Let me put that rack down. It's bent like a frigging banana. Also, after replacing that steering arm rod, the steering rack was knackered. It wouldn't work after that. So I had to get a new steering rack, well, a reconditioned steering rack, and put it on. Now, here's the thing. I've got it all back together. I've tracked it all up. It's had a brand new alley wheel put on it as well. New tyre and all that, because it had completely destroyed the tyre. So it's all back together, and I've noticed a problem. You're probably not going to see this too well, but on the driver's side, these wheels, they do tend to sit in at a slight slant towards the top. But this side here is literally, the angle this wheel is sitting is like that. You can visibly see it in your eyes, and it just looks definitely wrong. So I'm kind of thinking, chances are the shock absorber could be slightly bent. It could be the hub as well. but I'm thinking maybe the shock absorber would be the first thing to bend. I guess I should just replace the hub as well and the shock absorber, but you know what, I haven't got a hub here. I've got a shock, so I'm going to put it on and give it a try. Luckily, this car is like, it's not needed, it's just spare at the moment, so there's no great hurry to get it done, so I can experiment a bit. So I'm going to go for the shock first. I'm going to change the shock, see if it cures it. If it doesn't, then it's obviously the hub that's bent. It's just more money. Anyway, we'll get this shock taken off so you can see how it comes off. These are surprisingly easy to remove. So, let's get going. Stick the old PPE on. There's 3 10mm bolts on this shock absorber strut, but one of them is hidden underneath our scuttle panel. So these little metal clips, they just pop off with a screwdriver, no problem. Then you can just lift this panel up, stick some manuals underneath it so you can expose your rear bolt. I've already loosened this one, they're 10mm bolts by the way, and you can just wind that out. We'll remove the other 2 10mm bolts in a minute. If you're going to remove your wheel nuts with an air gun, the only one, the locking wheel nut, I would say loosen that with a socket, because air guns tend to break locking wheel nuts. I've already replaced this anti-roll bar drop link, but generally speaking, if you clean the threads with a wire brush, put a bit of freeing oil there, these nuts will come straight off without having to hold the link from behind. There, just like that, straight out. There's a little clip holding your ABS wire onto the shock absorber, so I'll just pop that out. There, I'll just turn this wheel round a little bit. 10mm bolt holding your brake hose to the shock absorber bracket. There we go, and you can pull that hose out of the way. Right, before I unbolt this shock absorber, just here where like the paint is actually coming off and it's cracked, I reckon it's buckled just here. I can't tell for sure because it's such a small amount, but a small amount here is going to make a big amount of difference at the wheel. But anyway, we'll see. 24mm nuts here, okay? You're probably best give them threads a bit of a clean with a wire brush because they do get a bit shitty. Then stick a bit of freeing oil on them. Then we'll whack that nut off. There. You'll notice I didn't put a spanner on this side of the bolt. That's because these bolts are actually splined through this hub. So you haven't got to hold them, you just got to whack them out now. There. When our last bolt is out, all we've got to do is separate that shock from the hub, and now we'll unbolt it from up top. Just to save time, I'm going to air gun these 2 10mm off, but I'm going to hold the shock absorber from underneath so it doesn't drop on the floor. There, one suspension leg. You know, I'm pretty confident that shocker is bent just here. It's separated from the actual bracket a little bit. I was going to point out here, the top mounts a bit like the Mark IV Mondeo front shocks, where you've got little tabs which have to line up so that this top mount fits back in the correct position. So if you're in any kind of doubt, what I'd do is I'd get some chalk and mark the top mount and where it sits on this plate, level with this plate as well. So that way you're going to get it back in exactly the same place as what it started off. At least this way you're going to know it's in the correct position as what it come off in. I'm going to have to clamp this spring now, but I ain't going to be using one of these. Okay, get that whacked in the compressor. I'd say that's all nice and free now. That little black cap's quite handy. It screws off, but it protects the threads from getting rusty, which is good. There's an 18mm nut in there you've got to undo, and a 6mm Allen key. So you could put like a spanner in there if you've got a swan neck and undo that nut and hold this. But I'm going to do it with mole grips. So you can flip up this dust boot and then you can stick some mole grips on the shock absorber shaft. Preferably, despite what people say, these shafts are made out of real case hardened steel, and it will take more than mole grips to mark them. But just to keep everybody happy, you want the mole grips as high up the shaft as possible. Right, that's our shock absorber shaft clamped. Stick our 18mm socket on there. Remove the top mount. Take them mole grips off and remove the shock absorber. There's a piece of rubber here that the spring sits on. You're probably best removing that, because I'm getting the feeling you're going to have to fit this to the new shock. Check your top mount spins and it feels smooth, because there's little ball bearings inside here, and if they go rusty they can get in half rough. I know this one's alright because it was steering okay, but also note the position of the two tabs. These have got to line up when we put this back on our new shock. One new passenger front shock. Right. Oh, comes with a little protector. Wow. Look at that. One that's not bent. We'll stick our piece of rubber back in for the spring to sit on. You can't get it wrong, it just pops into little holes. You can see by the piece of rubber, they've got a stop there. That's where the end of the spring is going to sit. Yeah, like that. You can put a stand underneath this shock if you want, just to support it, hold it in position. Now I'm hands-free to put the top mount back on. Once again, notice the two tabs on this top mount, where they line up with each other. And where I mark them tabs lined up with this part of the ridge on the base of the shock absorber. So there's actually 5 holes here, and it is actually lined up around about this central hole. Pop our 18mm nut back on. I'm going to clamp this shock absorber shaft again, as high as I possibly can. Stop it from turning. Right, now I'll whack this lot up. Once the nut's done up, if this top mount has moved around from where it should be, you can just spin it back. As long as these two tabs line up, and they line up with the central hole at the base of this shock absorber, then you know you're fine. I'll take this jack out of the way. Right, that's the tension off the spring. Get that out of there. And just before I bolt this back on the car, our two tabs are lined up with our 5th hole, our middle hole, on the bottom of our shocker plate. Right then, refitting is just the reverse of taking it apart. It's pretty simple, so I'm not going to bother explaining how it all goes back together. There's nothing technical about it. So I'm going to bolt this back on and see if our wheel is straightened up a bit better. The trouble with these modern cars, there's no adjustment on nothing. So if something's bent, all you can do is replace it. I will say, the actual subframe I've had unbolted, and the subframes of these cars you've got to line up, you've got to pin them up so they're in a certain position. And everything lines up perfectly on the subframe, so I'm pretty sure the chassis is perfectly fine. I'm hoping it was just that shock that was the problem. We'll find out in a minute. Before I forget, let's pop that black plastic plug over the threads on our shock, stop them threads getting rusty. I've just carried out the 4-wheel laser tracking on this car, and I thought I'd give the camber on these front wheels just another check. I had an idea. Look at this. If I fit the rear gauge, this would normally sit on the rear tyre when you do the 4-wheel tracking. And if I put a spirit level just here on this driver's wheel, the spirit level bubble is actually sitting bang on in the centre. So I'll now stick it on our passenger front wheel and see where our spirit level bubble's sitting. Yeah, this just goes to show this wheel is still tipping in too far. That bubble should be about here, where my finger is, but it's over here. Damn it. Okay, something's still not quite right. The wheel is obviously still tipping in, so something's still bent. And the only thing left is the aluminium hub. So I'm going to get a second-hand one ordered from some scrapyard or something like that, because a brand new one's a lot of money, and I'll put a new wheel bearing in it while I'm at it. That wheel did take quite a hefty whack, so I wouldn't be surprised in the least if that hub was bent somewhere. I was hoping it's going to be the shocker, but obviously, in the actual fact, I should have just changed the hub as well, because it's been in this kind of accident. It was the van hit the wheel like dead square on. But anyway, I'll get a new hub and put that on, and I'll probably update you later on whether it's cured it or not. I'm pretty sure it will. Anyway, that's it. At least you know how to fit a new shock absorber on one of these cars. Not that you'll ever have to, because I can tell you something. All these Mk5 Mondeos, some of them have done over 250,000 miles now, and I've never had to change a front shock absorber. I haven't had one fail yet, or a front spring, or a rear spring. They seem to do ever so well, suspension-wise. So, anyway, that's it. I'm out of here. Till the next time, see ya.